Hi, this is Votan, and I'm back. Today I would like to talk a little bit about myself and sort of my future and what I want to accomplish career-wise. And although I say I want to talk about it, it's more about trying to discover what it is that I want to do because pretty much my whole life I never really had a direction that I wanted to move in. And that's sort of been an issue for me for a while, and it hasn't really changed. Um, Last year I did graduate with a bachelor's degree, but I still don't know what direction I want to go in. I mean, I have different ideas of what I think I could do, but then it comes down to perhaps lacking the skill to do that, and that would require more studying or going back to school, doing something on my own. But right at the moment, my focus is self-development in a personal way and not really just trying to improve my external skills. Trying to become a better person, and I don't know if they really have jobs that are looking for something like that. They're looking for people with hard skills, people that can do this or that and fulfill a function. So it's never really been clear. I mean, when I graduated from high school, I remember the sort of survey that we were all given, and I remember putting down that I was undecided, or I didn't know what I wanted to do, but basically it wasn't college. And I looked at the results at the end of that, and almost everyone said, going to college, going to university, going to this, going to that. I was definitely in the vast minority of people who decided that they weren't going to go on to higher education. Of course, I ended up doing it eventually, but right away I didn't. And I mean, that could be many reasons. It's kind of strange though, because I like being in school. I enjoy learning. School has never been an issue for me. I've always been one of the ones that always does their homework, always shows up, doesn't skip, and is not disruptive in class and that kind of thing. So it's not the school, which is interesting why I decided not to actually go on to higher education right away. Why I didn't do that is I think it comes down to not really having a clear plan. Of course, I'm not blaming my parents per se, but they never were ones to, first of all, they didn't really go to school. My dad did eventually, much later. My mom never went to school, just high school. And they never really pushed me to figure out what I wanted to do after I graduated, or they never pushed me to figure out what school I should be applying to. It was basically just all left to me, and couple that with my personality of not really being good at making plans ahead of time. But I just, at that point, I just wanted freedom. And freedom means freedom from school, freedom from structure, freedom from being at home. At that point, it was my last year in high school, and I just wanted to get out. And so I think I would just chalk it down to the fact that I didn't want to be constrained, and I just wanted to do my own thing and get away without really having any sort of long-term plan. And I didn't know what career I wanted to go into. I still don't. But at that point I thought, well, it should be flashing in my mind, it should be becoming apparent to me, through the course of, doing work or through the course of my life. So I found though that it never did. So I worked for a while, and I knew that it wasn't really what I wanted to be doing, but what was the thing, what was the career, or what was my profession of choice? I couldn't really answer that. I took a lot of those tests that measure your aptitudes and your interests, and it tried to match me up with this or that. And some of them seemed, yeah, I guess I could probably do that, but nothing really sort of turned on the light bulb and made it flash. It was mainly just sort of educational or entertaining. It didn't really help. Plus, none of those tests are exhaustive. They have some good things, and they work for a good portion of people who just need a little bit of direction. I think I really needed something from the ground up, and just really helping me out to figure out what it was. So that really didn't seem to work. And then I was in school, and I tried to pick my interests rather than going for what I thought would get me a good job, because there again, why would I pick a major to go into a job if I didn't know what job I wanted? And if I knew what job I wanted, I would just go right for that. But it hasn't really worked that way. So I picked my interests. I thought I'd learn a skill, learn something that's maybe more practical and I could use, but I find that now that I'm done, I don't really have a good enough skill to be able to use it, and so I would need to practice more on my own or get more training in order to get a job in that field. And yet it seems as if I don't know if that's really what I want to do. It kind of seems like kind of a stopgap. So there's still a missing link somewhere. I'm not sure why it's so difficult for me to figure that out. I've talked to some other people, and they're like, oh, that's normal. Yeah, you don't know what you want. So many other people don't know what they want. That doesn't seem like a very satisfactory response to me. And I'm convinced that I am not following the majority of people, in that at least they may not find exactly what they want, but at least they're satisfied doing what they're doing, making a living and being relatively stable. I don't really see myself. For one thing, I don't really have a job. I do know that when I have jobs and I'm working, like when I worked last month, I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun to interact with other people and helping people out, getting into work. I definitely enjoy it. But it's ultimately feels like it's wasting my time. It's not really taking me anywhere. I'm getting money out of it. Maybe I'm getting personal relationships out of it, although not really. I mean, they're just professional relationships. So I really need to find that career or that niche for myself where I can feel fulfilled, where I can feel like I'm making a difference. I think whatever it is, it has to be where I'm providing a service or I'm doing something for someone that needs my help. So I'm feeling satisfied that I'm making a difference in the world. I'm making some money so I can earn a living. Although I guess sort of in my idealistic world, there wouldn't be any money exchanged. I don't know why, but I sort of don't enjoy taking money from people, so I make a pretty bad businessman. Usually when somebody wants me to do something, I usually just do it for free. It's sort of, in my mind, it's you do something for someone else because you want to help them, because you are maybe compassionate, or you just feel like it's the right thing to do. And maybe later on, if you need something, maybe they can do something for you. Perhaps that's too idealistic and it doesn't really work in this world. I would have to go off to some integrated community or something like that, which I haven't been a part of before. But in this regular mainstream society, it's all run on money. So something where I could earn a living, but helping other people at the same time, and also I could be sort of appreciated. It doesn't have to be, graveling, but just where I get some satisfaction out of my work. I'm making a difference. I'm growing as a person, and it's something that I want to do, and I don't feel like I'm wasting my time. And what that is, I have no idea. If I knew, I would go after it. So this is just sort of to cement or to try to share exactly where my professional failings have been. And I haven't really thought that much about work, but I seem this morning when I woke up, I was sort of thinking about work, and I was sort of dreaming about work. And I think it's been stemming from the conversation that I had with a recruiter a couple days ago. And I almost took the job that he offered, but then I had to think about it, and then by the time I wanted to accept it, it had already been offered to someone else. So he started offering me other jobs, but by then I'm just like, oh, I don't want anything else, and I had to tell him, I'm just doing something else. I'll let you know in a couple weeks. I sounded nicer than that, and I was concerned that he took it the wrong way. So I hope when I get back to him, the bridge isn't burned. It shouldn't be, because he said that in the interview initially that if he asks and you don't want something, it won't hurt his feelings if you say no. But sort of that concern, and the last couple nights I've been dreaming about work, and then I was finding myself thinking about work today, so I'm trying to figure out, does that mean I should go back to work, or it just means that there's something unresolved there that I need to look at and try to deal with. Whatever the case may be, I think I need to continue to explore that and don't rule anything out. I want to continue my personal growth and my spiritual development. And to do that, I really need a lot of free time, a lot of time to myself to be able to do this. But I'm not going to, perhaps having a job will aid my development in certain ways. If I can find a good job and it's not requiring too many hours a week or whatever. So I'm open to the possibility, but it's still not clear what my ultimate goal is. I've always had, people always say, oh, just get a job now and worry about what you want later. So I've always listened to that. And I've pretty much listened to other people my whole life. And often their advice is good for most people, but I find that it doesn't always work for me. So the advice for me just to get a job, well, then I'll get sucked into the job, and I don't have time for finding a different job or finding my interests, and hardly any time to do something else that I need to do or want to do. So yeah, it's something that I have past experience with, something that I've already tried and it doesn't really work for me. But I'm staying open. So I'm open to the possibility to figure out what I want and how I'm going to achieve that. So this is just a video just describing this. It's something I'm sort of been struggling with, and it's a big issue in my life. Hopefully I will be able to come to some sort of resolution and figure out what it is that I want to do before I get too burned out, before I just jump at any opportunity and I just said, oh, okay, fine, I'll just do it. I don't want to get too beaten down. So I am still hopeful and optimistic that I can find what I'm looking for. But at the same time, I'm realistic, and if nothing comes soon and I start running out of money, I think I'm going to have to take something in the short term. Anyway, appreciate you watching and coming up with any ideas if you have any, and we'll see you next time.